Hi, I'm Nate. I'm going to be designing an acrylic nail design on a plastic finger for you today. Let's begin. So normally when you make a acrylic, before you start the process, you want to buff and prepare the nail. Now because it's a plastic finger, there's no preparation needed. You don't need primer, you don't need to buff it, you don't need to file it at all. We can just start with the tip. So let's do that. I'm going to be designing an acrylic nail. So the products I'm going to be using today are Mia's Secret Multi-Balanced Natural Pink Acrylic Powder. It turns out more clear than pink, so that's why I use it. Mia's Secret Liquid Monomer. The most important thing to remember before you even start is if you're going to be using acrylic and monomer, use the same product because they are the most compatible. See, I have Mia's Secret and Mia's Secret. That's what I'll be using. For the nail glue, I'll be using Kiss Maximum Speed Nail Glue to glue the tip on. And I'll be using a size 8 nail tip. Let's begin. And a number 8 yellow brush, and it is square. An important thing to remember is when you're getting the tip, the glue on the tip, you don't need a lot. It's actually the less glue, the better. So I take the glue and I just gently put it on there, some glue, and rub it in without pressing. I go back and forth. I'll take that tip, press it right on the finger to the edge. I'll do a video on how you know if the tip fits or not, and that'll explain the entire finding a tip process and tip versus forms. I'll have 2 videos coming out. After I get the tip on, I set it down and I get my acrylic powder and monomer ready. I take this little jar, so this is the big container. I use actually my tip cutters to scoop it out into the container because I don't need that much. If we're only doing one nail or even a set, you don't need that much. So I grab that, put that to the side, settle it, resettle it. And then I take my little zapping dish, it's just really nice and small, don't need a big one, and I fill it up about halfway. Say about halfway. I fill it up a little bit more there, but it's all right for now. All right, let's get to the process of actually mixing the products together and creating the beautiful nail. All right, so I'm in a more zoomed in position now, so you can see all my work, everything that I'm doing. We're only using this powder, monomer, and tip. Let me get a paper towel because you always want to wipe off your brush after you use it every single time. So we start with wetting your brush. I'm gonna put mine on the paper towel. You're gonna push it in, left, right, and then wipe it off. I always wipe it off. Then I wet it again, and I wipe it off one more time, and then I just wet the tip. And I go in for my bead. I'll place that on the nail right at the free edge. Right at the free edge. Wipe off the excess, and then I will brush it down the nail. You always start at the free edge, okay? So you can begin with that structure right there, right where the apex needs to be. Brush it off, wet it again, do the tip, the brush, push it in there, set it for a second, let it cure, and then you want one for the structure. Now that was a perfect bead. See how it's not running? It's just staying put for me to start working. Now I put it there, brush it down after we build the structure. Building the structure is very important. So you want it right at that free edge, and you want to push it back a little bit. And then do a nice long strokes all the way down. You can see we're already having some structure right there. You want the thickest point, and then you want to thin out. I'll take another bead, ball, anything you want to call it. A smaller one for the cuticle. I don't want to put it right at that cuticle, but I do want to push it right up against there, and then brush it back down to the end. See, my nail's already looking really nice. You know, if I compare it to my nail's a little flat there, but so we're gonna build in one more structural bead. A nice big bead for the structure. Place it right there at the free edge and wipe off excess. You put it in there, place it where I want it, and push it back a little bit. And you want to use this part of your brush and this part of your brush to flatten it down. An important step in building your nail is build it like you don't have any nail file, because the more perfect you build it before you file, the easier the filing process will be. Look down the barrel of your nail. Mine's a little lopsided, but is it even? Does it look even? Yes, it does, but it looks still a little thin, and I can see a little bit of unevenness there. So I'm going to take another dip, another bead, medium-sized one, put it on there. Look at both sides to make sure it's even, looking at both sides. Looking down the barrel, of course, looking down the barrel is one of the most important parts. Then looking at the side, making sure the structure looks okay. And I would say that the tiniest little bead at the end of the cuticle to even out where my structure is. All right, take a look at that. Let's move on to filing. All right, filing and shaping is a really important part of creating the perfect nail. Before we do that, I want to show you my cleanup process. When I'm done with all my acrylic, I take my liquid monomer, put it right back in the bottle, right back in there, because I can reuse it. Then my acrylic, I do the same exact thing. I just take any leftover acrylic and pour it right back in there. Put the lid on. Good. I have my nail file 180 grit. I'm gonna take my nail. We're gonna start on the right side of the nail. If you're looking at it from here, it's the right side of the nail. We're gonna file it, so if you can see it, I have a little bit of excess on that side. I wanna line it up, I'm gonna line my file up, and I'm just gonna keep filing until my file perfectly aligns with the nail, because my tips are already coffin shaped. That's the shape we're going for today. So I'm gonna keep filing until that lines up perfectly, and I can file it a little bit, even a little bit more coffin if I want to, because sometimes I do like to file it a little bit more coffin. Once I'm done with that side, I move on to the other side. Do the same thing. I want to file it until I see that perfect. Also, go under. once you're done with the two sides, you can go, once you're done with the two sides, you can go under the nail because that is very important in making sure you have smooth bottoms. I'm gonna go back to this side. And then if you see the barrel, just do a nice on top. Go on top of the nail. You can see this part's a little messed up. You want to go over and you don't want to feel any bumps when you go over it. When you're done filing, I always use a hand file. I've never used a drill bit. Maybe I'll get one day, but I've never used a drill bit. I've never tried it. Take your buffer, buff the nail. You want to make it really smooth for polishing, and you want it to just feel really soft. You don't want any tough edges that could cut up another person with their nails. You want to make them cute and safe. And of course, how could we forget? Don't forget to file the tip so that you get that strong square shape. And man, I thought. Feels really smooth. Once it feels really smooth, you know you've done it right. Shall we move on to polish? I have a choice of two polishes that we can use today. They're both very similar light pink nudes by Essie. Kind of, I would say they're nudes, but they're really light pink. One is called Vanity Fairest, and one is called Sugar Daddy. Today I think we're gonna go Sugar Daddy. These are really light. When I was testing these brushes out, when I was testing these polishes out, I was like, I don't know if they're gonna show, but we're gonna go for it. And let's begin. Okay, the last part of the process is polishing. I'm gonna shake my bottle up. You can hear the marble in there. I'm gonna undo the polish. Now sometimes when I start at the end. Start at the end of the nail, but sometimes I start in the middle. It really depends what kind of polish it is. If it's a gel polish, I'll usually start at the bottom with a lamp. If it's a normal polish, I usually start in the middle so that the middle gets the most color, the densest, thickest part of the polish. You don't want it to be thick covering, but the thickest part of the covering. So let's start. I don't even know if this is gonna show up. I mean, look how thin and fair that is. Barely even covers the bottle. Let me try Vanity Fairest. As I open that up. Oh, yeah, well, this one is a little bit darker pink, so we're gonna go for it. Let's start in the middle. Okay, so you can see it a little bit. It's gonna need a couple coats, I'm sure, on camera, but the basic process is you want to go from the bottom, the free edge, and get some more. It's so thin, and you usually wipe it off. But you usually take it, wipe it off on one side, and continue in the cuticle area. Now to get the cuticle area really good, you want to start a little bit before the cuticle and then push it up, right up to that cuticle. And then you want to draw all that out because it'll make nice, even coats. But when I paint this, I just pick it up from the bottle because it really needs it. That is going to be my first coat. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll be right back. That's had enough time to dry. Let's move on to the second coat. Undoing the bottle, and so since this is the second coat, the first coat soaks into the nail. It fills in all the holes and gaps that you may have had. So the second coat brings out the true color that you see in the bottle and gives it the really smooth rundown. So So let's do the second coat. Alright, I can see that it is showing its color a lot more. And don't forget to wrap that tip. See, that color is a lot thicker now. I can actually tell that there's a color on it instead of just a clear coat. I'm gonna let that dry, and then we're gonna be back with the top coat. All right, I'm ready for that top coat, and we're gonna do the reveals. I take my top coat, I'm using Sally Hansen Insta Dry for this video today. If I can open it, okay, there we go, my goodness. This is nice and thick, so put my brush in there and push it away from me and paint on that beautiful top coat. Get a little bit more. The nail's really long today, so. Okay, so here it is, my first nail that I ever did. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more, come back or subscribe, comment, do whatever you want. Hopefully, next time you watch my next video, I'll be doing my own hand. I just have to get the primer for it, for Mia's Secret. But if you like this nail, let me know. If you think there's anything I can fix, let me know. I just wanted to show you how I do nails and how you can do nails. Plastic fingers are perfect for practicing on. They're the best thing to start practicing on because you're not going to harm someone else. You're not going to harm your own nails. And everything here was relatively cheap. In the description, I'll make sure I put all the products that I use so that if you want to use them, you can buy them, or you can ask me to recommend me some products because I have some products that I like to use that I didn't use in this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys all later. Bye!